Hello everyone, it's Cassie going live on JJ with Joy. This isn't gonna be like an exact daily prompt thing. It's kind of a throw it on Thursday, but it's more of a mixed media Wednesday type of thing. Let me make sure my volume's down. I can see comments. I can see who joins. This is kind of a spur of the moment thing. I had some people asking me. I posted a picture in group of an altered playing card that I had done, and I had some people ask me how I did it. So I just figured I would come live and do a little play and show how I made that altered playing card. So I see no one has joined yet, but I'm going to go ahead and get started anyway because it's quiet in my house right now, and quiet is not a normal in my house. So what you're going to need is you're going to need alcohol inks. I used some gold paint. They have many different kinds. Hi Jen, how are you, hon? They have different kinds of gold paint. These both happen to be by Folk Art. This one's called Design Cream, and this one's just called Treasure Gold Brilliant Metallic Luster. I haven't seen a difference in either one of these, so I don't know exactly what the difference are with these. This one says to use it with silk screen and stencils, so maybe this one's just a tad thicker and this one's a little bit more watery. But anyway, either one of these would work. Any gold paint that you have on hand would work. You're also going to need a little paintbrush. And I don't mean little by bristles little, I mean little by the end of it, little here, or however big you want your dots to be, because we're going to use that for making dots. You're also going to need an old key of some sort. You're going to need something round for dipping and making circles. You're going to need some embroidery floss or string of some kind. Of course, you're going to need paper towels, baby wipes for cleanup, that kind of thing. You're going to need your playing cards, and tweezers are very helpful also. Now, I have two different kinds of playing cards here in front of me. These are your more traditional playing cards that you find nowadays. They're the real plasticky, real slick, shiny playing cards. They will work, but they do something completely different. These are the more vintage playing cards. They're more made out of paper. They're more muted, and they turn out differently than the other ones. So I figured I would play here a little bit and do one of each to show you guys the difference. And to begin with, I have prepped my surface here. I have my glass mat, which you can do it directly on your glass mat, but that gives off a lot of glare and shine. So I've just protected my surface here with this clear type mat that I don't care if it gets dirty. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to use your alcohol inks, and you're going to decide what colors you want. Now you have to remember when you're doing this and you're mixing your colors, you have to remember that certain colors aren't going to play nice with other colors. So you want to pick colors that are going to make something other than mud. If you take, like, I don't know what colors, because I'm not a color expert, but if you take the wrong colors and you mix them together too much, then you're going to get mud. So I have chose here to use a red, a yellow, and a blue. And so blue and red make purple, blue and yellow make green, and red and yellow make orange. So I'm hoping that I don't get too much of a muddy look. So that's why I kind of stuck to the primary colors. That way it will make other colors other than just brown. So you're going to start by taking your alcohol inks and you're just going to put drops of color all over your card. And you want, depending on what look you want to go for, if you want everything covered, you're going to want lots of drops of color. And the look I did on my first card that everybody asked about and really liked, I did the whole card covered in color. So I've got a lot of blue on there. Now let's go in and add some red. And you'll see how these cards react differently right away. As you can see already on the slick card, here, let me bring you guys down just a little bit, see if that'll help you see it a little bit better. As you can see on this card, the slick shiny card. Oh, I turned you guys around. How did I do that? Okay. There we go. We're back. So on the slick shiny card here, you're seeing that they're just sitting there. It's just little dots of my ink. It's just sitting there. On the more paper-like card, my ink is slowly spreading out. So that is the difference in the cards. So let's go ahead here. Add some of this red in here. We need some more color over here. Sometimes you just go wherever you feel it's needed, you go. Okay, so that's the red. Now I'm going to use yellow. This one's, oh, I'm not telling you guys the colors. This one's crimson. The blue I'm using is aquamarine. And the yellow I'm using is sunshine yellow. And these are all by Tim Holtz or Ranger. Hi, Mona. How are you today, hon? So I'm just going to go in here, and where I don't see a lot of color, I'm going to add more color. And over here, I'm just going to put little drops everywhere of the yellow. Now, as you can see, on this one over here, I've got some greens and stuff coming in already. They're starting to play together a little bit. But the really cool thing we're going to do is the next step here. So I've added my color to my cards. Now I'm going to come in with this alcohol blending solution. And what this is going to do is it's going to make the alcohol inks play with each other. And it's going to make them combine. As you can see, I dropped this on here and it kind of, things start to move a little bit on their own. You can add as much as you want, as little as you want. It doesn't really matter. But it's really cool what they do and how it moves. And I'm going to do this on both cards. Now what I did, I played around just a little bit before I started the video because I didn't know how the shiny card was going to react. So I played around a little bit, and this is where your tweezers will come in handy for this, because you don't want to get ink all over you. But what I do is I just kind of pick my card up and I move the colors around on the shiny one, and there, I got it on myself. And this, you're more able to make mud with this one. I'm going to have to clean up with alcohol after this. But here's the cool thing. You now take your paper towel and you just blot it off. Just put it on there and blot it off. Make sure your paper towel is in thick enough layers that it's not going to come through and get all over you. And then when you lift it up, you've got these cool colors left behind. And this one mixed more than my first one did. But this is how my first one turned out. And it's so cool. It's such a different look. 98% alcohol. Yeah, that's a good thing too. This is my first one I did, trying this. And I love how the colors are so vibrant, and they stayed true to their colors, and they didn't, you know, get all mixy matchy. Now watch what's going to happen when I do this one that's more of a paper card. This one, the colors made like circles and stuff, and like covered the whole card, and it soaked into the card. So this one looks kind of more like a watercolor that's on the glossy shiny cards, and the one that's more of a paper card, it sucks that color in, and it's a deeper, darker color, and you can kind of see it through the back some. So that's step one. Yes, the paper towels do turn out really, really pretty if you get the right colors and the right spots on them. So I'm going to play with this one. This one I'm just going to set aside. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I'm going to try and get this effect again, because if you see, this one turned out different than my first one, but it's still really, really cool. I'll play with those another time. But I'm going to play with this one. And the next step I did was I took my key, and I have a whole box of keys. They're old US mailbox keys that have been discarded, and old car keys and things like that. Nothing special. I bought them at a thrift store. But I'm going to use my alcohol inks, and I'm going to treat my key just the same way I did the card. So I'm going to use the same colors. Yeah, you could, Tammy. So I'm going to use my alcohol inks, and I'm just going to put some drops here on my key. I'm going to use the same colors, that way it matches, but we're going to throw another color in here just for fun. And with the key, it's not a porous surface, so it is just going to look like it's setting on top there. And you can kind of move your ink around a little bit with the nozzle. But I am now going to bring in gold. Let me get it shook up here. This is just, it's called gold. And it is a metallic gold color, and it does show up gold when you use it. I'm just going to throw a little bit of this in there. I might have to do a little bit more afterwards. And again, I'm going to take the paper towel and just kind of blot a little bit. You can see the colors moving and running together there. I really like how that looks. Look at that. Ain't that cool on the paper towel? So I'm just going to blot again. That took off a lot of the color, so I'm going to go back in and add a little bit more color. And you can go back and forth with your color and your blotting. And see, I love what happens when you add the gold with the color. It just kind of, it moves, and the way it moves is just so fun. I'm going to add some more blue on here. I really like the blue. I love the way the colors move and mix. And then if you want, you can use some of your blending solution as well, or just regular alcohol, because it is alcohol inks, and this is really cool too. Once that, you can just see it move. I hope the camera's picking that up, because it's so super cool. Let me come a little closer here so you guys can maybe see how it moves. See, it moves. It's so cool. So I'm going to dab this off again, just lightly. There, I really like how that looks. Okay, I'm going to bring you up a little bit. I don't want to be like screaming right in the camera. Oop. Okay, there we go. You're back to your original spot, which should be fine for the rest of it. So I'm going to just move this aside. Set it over here on this baby wipe so it can dry a little bit while we move on to the next stage. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do while my key's setting over there drying is I'm going to take my gold paint. I'm going to give it a good shake. Thanks, Mona. It's so fun to do too, because no matter how many times you do it, you can use the same colors over and over again and again, and you're gonna get different results every time, because you can't guarantee how the colors are gonna mix or play with each other. So I'm just gonna take my finger, I'm gonna get some paint on it, and I'm going to go around the edges. You can put as much or as little as you want. You can be as messy as you want with this, but it really is fun. So I'm just going around the edges, giving it that gold color on the edge. Be careful that you don't give yourself a paper cut. Here we go. This is why I kind of have my heat tool over here, just in case I need to use it for some reason. Acrylic paints dry pretty quickly, but we don't want to wait for dry time, do we? We just want to play. Okay, so now I'm going to use my little lid here, and I'm just gonna put it in the paint. And then I'm just going to put circles wherever I feel there needs to be a circle. Overlap a couple. If it's not a full circle imprint, that's fine. It doesn't have to be a full circle imprint. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to use the end of my paintbrush here. And I'm just going to dip that in the paint. And then I'm going to put little polka dots wherever I want to put a polka dot. And you don't have to use gold paint for this. It's just what I chose to use for it. I think it looks really cool. I like the gold. There we go. And I think I'm going to leave that like that. And now I am going to use my heat tool just for a moment to kind of try and dry this paint a little bit. So plug your ears, turn your volumes down, whatever you got to do. I'm just off to the side here drying this. I didn't want to warp my plastic mat that I have laying there. So I'm just holding this off to the side, and I'm also holding it away from the mic a little bit so it's maybe not so loud for you guys. Okay. It's not completely dry, but we're going to go with it here, okay? This corner down here. It's got a little bit thicker area of paint, so I'll just dab it a little bit. Gives it a cool effect there. It kind of looks like it's, I don't know, really old looking. Okay, so now hopefully our key is dry. Now what we're going to do is we're going to figure out where we want to place our key on here. And I'm just going to go like right here because that's what I did on the other one. And I'm going to use my embroidery floss. And I'm just going to poke a hole right below. Be careful not to poke yourself, and right above, because I want to come from the back side. Or no. I'm going to go down through the front side, leaving a tail, and then I want to come back up so that I've got both of my tails on the front of the key. That way I can tie this in a knot, and you can tie a little bow. You can leave the strings dangle and put some beads on them. You could do whatever you want at this point. You could put a button on the string. You could do all kinds of fun stuff. So I'm just going to tie a little bow. I'm going to try and get my bow to look somewhat cute here. Sorry if I'm pulling that out of screen. So the next part, I don't really have prepared. I totally forgot about it till I got on here, was putting the key on here. But I'm just going to cut these off real quick and leave my strings about that length for now. We'll do something with it later. I wish they'd come down this way a little more. But so the next part was I put a number on here. And let me see what I got going on over here for numbers. So like right here, I've got these. This was a printable from somewhere. I don't know if I got it off Pinterest or if it was a freebie in a group or something. I'm not sure. But here I like the numbers like this because those kind of look like house numbers. So what I would do, let me see if I've got any others because those are not leaving a whole lot of room for me. I would show you guys my other one, but I sent it out. Okay. This one's good. These are good. These will work. So we're going to go with this number 1758 right here. Or here. My son's behind me and he just found these. This is what I used on my first one. We'll go with this 792 up here because it's fancy looking. Let's do that. So I'm just going to cut this out. You know how it is, because circles or ovals. Not very easy. Okay, good enough. Now let me find my ink that is buried over here. This is Gathered Twigs instead of Vintage Photo, but it'll work. I'm just going to ink the sides real quick, give it a little bit of that grungy look. And then what we're going to do, hi Kay, how are you? Thanks for joining. We're going to stick this here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my same needle. I'm going to get the number on there where I want it. Maybe. And then where this little dot is on here, I'm just going to go through and make a hole there. And then on the other side, do the same thing without stabbing myself. And then we're going to put brads through that. Let me get my brads. And I'm going to use these brown ones. And then what I did was I took my glossy accents, and this part takes a while because you got to let it dry. But I took my piece of paper and I put my glossy accents on here, and I'll show you guys how to do that. But then when I thought it was dry, it really wasn't quite dry. So when I picked it up, my glossy accents actually cracked. It made it look pretty cool. It just kind of looked like broken glass over the top of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my glossy accents on here, and then I'm going to set it aside, and I'm going to let it dry. And it does take a little while to dry depending on how thick of a coat you put on. And then once my glossy accents is dry, it'll give this a really glossy glass look to it. And it'll also make it look more three-dimensional. And you can go right through the glossy accents to reform those holes again that you made with the needle. And then we're just going to stick it on the front of the card with those two brads. And then you've got yourself a cute little alcohol ink altered playing card with some three-dimensional items on it that would be really cool to stick in pockets or on the front of a journal or something. So that's how that looks. And I'm just gonna kind of try and scooch it over here and get it set on top of the card so you guys can see kind of what it'll look like. Trying not to mess it up too bad here. So that's kind of what it's going to look like when it's finished, and it'll have the two brads and those little dots there. So I'll bring you guys down closer so you can kind of see the finished look a little bit better. And that's what it's going to look like. And then remember, this is how, oh no, I dropped the brad and the glossy accents. We can fix that because it's still wet. This is how it looks on a glossy plastic type card, and this is how it looks on the more matte finished paper type of card. So anyway, that's just my little video for today. I had a lot of comments and questions on how I made my altered playing card, and somebody wanted to see a tutorial on how I did it, so I figured why not. So that's all I've got for you. It was nice to chat with y'all, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.